GPU prices are at an all-time high. However, Ethereum prices are also at an all-time high, as well as Ethereum difficulty. What do these things mean? Well, they could spell some good news for gamers in the potential next few months. And I'm going to explain why, according to at least the research I've been doing recently, where say for instance, an RTX 3080, the profitability on one of these in terms of mining has actually come down. When I last tested this a few months ago, I was seeing around $9 to $10 a day on an RTX 3080 in terms of daily profitability. That has now dropped down to $6 to $7. So that is a 30% drop in its daily profitability. Now, when profitability drops down, the desire from miners to buy more of these graphics cards also goes down too. However, there is some good news around the corner for gamers who want to get their hands on graphics cards. Let's explore what this exactly is and how it can mean that there might be more GPUs available very soon, and especially at lower prices. Right after this quick sponsor spot. We've got here the Z590 motherboard. That's right, this is the Z590 Phantom Gaming ITX with Thunderbolt 4, USB 3.2 Gen 2 front out, double shot Pro combining your NIC and your 6E Wi-Fi together for double the speeds, and the Hyper M.2 Gen 4x4. If you're looking for the best mini ITX motherboard that has it all, then I'll put some links in the description below. So the first big catalyst for driving down profitability for Ethereum miners, that's GPU miners predominantly at this point in time, is the fact that there's two different companies, and that's Bitmain as well as another company called InnoSilicon. They're releasing ASIC miners, and these are known as application-specific integrated circuits. In other words, these miners that these companies are releasing in the next 2 months, they are dedicated towards mining Ethereum. And with that, they also bring higher efficiency and much higher hash rates. Now, this is important to look into because one of these manufacturers, Bitmain, is touting that they've got 3,000 mega hashes of crypto mining power on Ethereum. And this is important when we contrast this to an RTX 3080, which gets around 90 to 100 mega hashes. This means that this one ASIC miner can potentially mine at roughly 32 RTX 3080s, and it does it from one box. And it does it with a lot better power efficiency. So what this means is a lot of corporations will then be buying up these ASIC miners, and this will drive out the profitabilities of the current crypto-based GPU mining. And the first reason is, of course, the higher hash rates, but the second reason is, of course, they're much more compact. 32 RTX 3080s is going to take up a lot of space. One ASIC miner will take up much less space. So the current crypto farms and all the corporations that are buying up precious GPUs will now have the incentive to switch over to these ASIC miners, which will bear them more profit when it comes to mining. So basically the crux of this is, as these ASIC miners start coming online and bringing with them higher hash rates, they'll essentially drive the profitability down for the existing GPU miners. And hopefully the existing GPU miners will then get pushed out of Ethereum. Now you're like, well, Brian, the GPU miners will then just go to another cryptocurrency. And this is where I did a bit of research in the last few days. And I've been seeing that people are talking about different cryptocurrencies if you were to alternatively mine to that of Ethereum. And currently it stands at cryptocurrencies like Ergo, there's Conceal, aka Octopus, there's also Xano. But what I decided to do here was add up all the total market caps of these cryptocurrencies and also the 24-hour trading volumes of the top 10 alternative cryptocurrencies that you can mine as opposed to Ethereum. And keep in mind the profitability, even on something like an RTX 3080, drops tremendously at current market rates. So when I did this math, I found that the top 10 cryptos that you could mine for profitability after Ethereum ended up being not even 1% of the market cap of Ethereum. And an interesting trend here was that the 24-hour volume was also under that of 1%, meaning that if you had a lot of crypto miners jumping off Ethereum and going to these other cryptocurrencies, they would simply get overwhelmed, and the profitabilities with that would drop tremendously. So basically, when we talk about crypto mining and profitability, we're pretty much referring to Ethereum. And so now that these ASIC miners are in production and they're coming online, there's going to be a lot of demand from them from corporations. And that will essentially, as we said before, put pressure on the GPU miners. And as their profitabilities go down, they won't be willing to pay as much of these higher prices, especially from scalpers and overpriced redistributors. And that means the prices should come down at least temporarily. There's also a miner from Silicon, which provides 2,000 mega hashes and comes in at a price point of $15,000. So the profitability versus the cost outlay of these ASIC miners is much better than the current pricing of RTX 3080 street pricing. And of course, coupled in with the better efficiency, this will make for a much better option for people who simply want to make profitability mining Ethereum, which when we check out the profitability of Ethereum, it's much higher than that of the other cryptocurrencies at this point in time. There's some other good news in the form of GPU availability actually comes in the form of the GPU supply itself. When I've spoken to Nvidia, they're telling me that they're shipping more 3000 series cards than they've shipped in the history of other GPU launches, especially compared to that of the previous generation, the RTX 2000 series. And then I'm talking to AMD, and they're doing their best to get supply to the market as well. Albeit, I would like to see a card, for instance, like the RTX 3050 or a cheaper variant that's new and provides better efficiency out on the market. Though, for what it's worth, a lot of people have their eyes on something like a 3060 Ti or even an RTX 3060. And with the news from the ASIC miners putting pressure on the GPU miners, this can only spell better availability, all other things considered. But what about playing devil's advocate for a moment and looking at, say, for instance, a scenario where the crypto prices were to keep rising? Say, for instance, the Ethereum price just keeps going up. Well, that is a possibility, but if we look at the previous trends of the exponential increase in the crypto prices, especially Ethereum, over the last year, we can actually see that that exponential growth has come to a slowdown over the last 2 months. So when that price starts leveling out and then you've got pressure from ASIC miners coming in, it pretty much lets the market dictate the price of not only the GPUs, but the profitability of crypto mining itself. And so there's that age-old saying, the cure for high prices is high prices. However, in this case, it would seem the cure for crypto mining and profitability would simply be greed and self-interest, which does seem to have reached a peak. And so from here on in, I can only really see two trends taking place, and that is GPU availability gets better, or we start seeing massive amounts of inflation due to governments printing out and providing excess supply of dollars. Though as for the inflation scenario, that is a scary reality. So the next few months are going to be crucial to see what is happening not only in the cryptocurrency world, but also the broader economy in general. But that being said, if you have been patient in the last few months, waiting for graphics card prices to at least normalize somewhat, then your patience may be rewarded with the help from the ASIC community. Now, there's also one more curveball to throw into this whole cryptocurrency mining demand, and that is the fact that Ethereum itself could move over to a proof of stake system where then mining becomes completely irrelevant. And if this was the case, then the whole mining scenario on the cryptocurrency Ethereum would simply come to a halt. But usually if they do something like this, it will be in more slower steps where they change the percentage rewarded to proof of work, where also this would directly affect profitability, and that would become less and less also. So everything points to less profitability for GPU miners, which in turn will mean better availability and better prices for people who want to potentially buy a GPU for gaming. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then be sure to hit that like button and also let us know in the comments section below what you think of the whole mining scenario versus GPU demand. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always. But another thing I will throw out there, if you're someone who's sitting on a lot of RTX 3060 Ti's or a lot of RTX 3070s or even 3080s, then perhaps you might want to start selling some of those in case there is a massive supply spike from dropping profitabilities. And to quickly quote one of those groups from the early 2000s, Eiffel 65, too much of heaven can bring you underground. Heaven, yeah, can always turn around. Too much of heaven. And we got the question of the day here, which comes from Tedej, and they ask, hey, I'm currently on an i7 7700K. It would make sense to upgrade to an i5 11400F. The simple answer is yes, it would make sense in that you'll get 2 more cores, 4 more threads, and you will get a performance boost. But I would say if you're sitting on a Z270, for instance, or a Z170, then I've got a video in the works that might be an alternative answer. but I do have to still test it. So stay tuned for that. Without some pretty cool options from AliExpress, which means that you wouldn't have to go purchase another motherboard and you could sell that 7700K on the free market. And the upgrade itself wouldn't cost a whole lot of money. Though again, I'm only in the early stages of testing this. This is the product right here. I will drop that video. So if you want to see that the moment it drops and the other tech videos around Tech City, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out for now. Bye.